Hey, we're the Infamy Fantasy Esports team, and this is our podcast, episode 9, where we're going to be talking about Valorant. We have fantasy Fortnite tournaments going for all the duos FNCS. Well, so you can sign up at infamy.gg and win some free V-Bucks. So, guys, Valorant came out last week. We had a week to review streams, and I even got to play it myself. What are your guys' initial thoughts? I know we said in our last video, our initial alpha review, that we thought it was trash. Anyone have any changed
I don't know if
opinions
we
or?
fully came to that conclusion,
I
but
mean, it was the video title, so
I mean,
It was my
it
opinion.
was.
My
it's definitely Blake's opinion. I think definitely what we can tell is like for sure it is very close to CS:GO compared to any other game.
Mhm.
One might even call it a CS:GO clone, as many
Yes.
have,
A lot of
including
people.
some of our own team here. But yeah, it's definitely leaning towards abilities are not the end all be all, but I think they're a little more of a factor than some people are giving them credit for. But it's definitely like all about the gunplay, and the gunplay is all about CS:GO.
yes.
Yeah.
that peak.
Yeah, those peaks will get you. I play. This is my first time playing a game like CS:GO format style game, so I know nothing going into this game. And one thing I'll give it is this could have just been like my experience, but it wasn't as harsh as I thought it would be. Like the learning curve and like hitting shots, I thought would be like impossible. You would just get outgunned, but I actually was winning some gunfights.
Hmm.
But like Steve said, the abilities were just I completely would just get myself killed because I would overestimate what I could do with my abilities. Like I would try and dash in as Jet and just no, you can't do that. So it's nothing like Overwatch. And although it was fun for me playing my first 5 to 10 games, I want to see how it pans out for a casual community because I'm not sure if that was my experience was just because players were awful or if it was because I just expected too much from the game itself and the community.
How was the kind of your teammates and the enemy players in those games? Or do you think they were about the same, like mechanical and like overall just like FPS kind of game style IQ around your level, I guess? Or like do you think like they're kids just dumping on you, or do you think they're complete noobs who are just like not
They're
only new to Valorant but just new to FPSs in general?
in most of the games. It seemed like everyone was around their game knowledge. I didn't really, no one really like had call outs. No one was really talking
Hmm.
in the chat.
I mean
But
that's fine.
every
It's a new game.
yeah, but everyone seemed to just be like doing whatever. There wasn't really anything except for one game. I had this one kid who was like obviously he's been on some shit because he was running around with a sniper just like quick scoping, peeking corners, and just teabagging kids at every final kill cam. So I was like, yeah, this kid is definitely
Yeah,
from
that's
somewhere
that.
else. He would do like he would like pull out his knife. I don't know if it's a go thing, but he like pull out his knife and like stab the camera or whatever
You
whenever he would
move
get the
faster with the knife out.
oh yeah. So he was like doing that and like teabagging. So I was like, oh, this kid's probably a CS:GO player. But there was only one game like that. I thought there would be a lot more people who were a lot better at the game early on. And my biggest fear was that I was just going to get dumpstered off the rip, but it wasn't like that. But once it takes off, I can see it getting very, very uncasual friendly.
Why?
Just the learning curve itself. The game doesn't really teach you in the tutorial things like what the best peaks are and just like optimal strategies, and then you have abilities which are potentially synergistic, and they don't really go into that outside of like this is you play as the guy with the bow in this tutorial, and it's like he can ult through walls and has wall hacks
Hmm.
for his basic ability, but there's no other character. Like I was playing as Phoenix, and that play style is completely different. The reason why I was playing as Phoenix is because his ult you can just run in and take damage and like gather information that way, which like is more akin to my play style. But you don't; those things don't transfer over unless you
Were you
have.
flicking the flashbang?
Yeah, you can like flick the flashbang around corners, like hoop it. Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's no. I honestly think like there's gonna be a lot of kids that are gonna come over from CS:GO and just dominate early game.
Mhm.
Like I'm really interested to see how the abilities pan out. Just
Yeah, I
like
wonder
there
if the
are a couple.
abilities will be an equalizer in that end.
I think, I mean, honestly, there's not a lot different from CS:GO as far as the abilities go. Like the tutorial character with the wall hacks, being able to see through walls. Like it's even not even that broken. Like I thought it was going to be live, but it's like a snapshot, so it's not even like it's that broken. But like also the movement abilities, like the teleports or like Jet, that's very different from CS:GO, and there's going to be a lot of like high level play where mobility is going to be key. And it's going to be very different from CS:GO, where you're going to know exactly where that person can go, and you can kind of bait out where they're going to be with like Molotovs and flashbang, so you can like get them to move in a way that you want. And this game with the movement abilities, you're going to be able to completely negate that style of play.
Yeah.
So
With
like it's going to be.
oh no,
Go
you
ahead.
can finish.
I'm just rambling.
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, with like the movement abilities and stuff like that. One thing that was stand out for me was the sound quality of the game. When for my first round playing, I walk in and I can hear footsteps, and it's on the other side of the wall from me, and I'm like hearing these footsteps. But I'm like, this kid is hiding in a corner on that other side of the wall. I've never played this map before, and I like so just from hearing his footsteps and the way he was moving, I was able to like map out the area, and I went around the corner and like it was exactly like what I thought it was going to be. So I think the sound in that game is very very well done, and it's going to be hard to move around with abilities like teleport when the sound is that pinpoint accurate.
Yeah, but
You
like
kind
a
of
lot of them don't have like that big of sound effects. Like also too, like there are ways around it too, right? Like you can walk in that game. A lot of
yeah,
people probably are like,
the
"What the
walk
hell
is
is walk?" Right?
yeah.
New players, that
Mhm.
makes you silent when you move. So like if you land while I'm interested, because I haven't played it yet and I haven't been able to play
Mhm.
around with it, but I'm interested to see like with Jet, if you hit the ground while while you have the walk held, is it silent?
Yeah, from a lot of like high level clips I've seen where people like pull off the either like the jet fly in or the teleport or something, and then they get on a high ground and kill like three people who are still looking in the wrong direction. It makes me think that you aren't able to really hear much. Like if you don't see them actually
Mhm.
make that move, you'll be kind of lost, and
Which
or maybe
is
they're just playing against awful people. But it's just crazy how they just like fly, jump. They're still looking where he just was, and just like head.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, from those gameplays and clips, it really doesn't look like the sound is that prevalent. But when I was playing it, it was like the first thing I took to. I was like, wow, the sound in this game is really well done, and
Well, I
so
mean, we're
that's why
seeing
when
through the eyes
when
of
I see those
content creators.
clips, what would you say?
We're seeing through the eyes of content creators. They're literally all
Yeah,
talking over the audio.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But like that's why when I saw those clips, I was like, those kids have to be bad because if you have on a headset, everything is so loud in the game, and like it's very hard to not know what's going on around you when you have a sound system like that.
They're
But
watching chat.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like always
Chat
watching chat.
strats.
Yeah,
He's behind me.
it doesn't have any crossover. Chat meta does not cross over.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but it is a lot of communication is so big because the whole thing is just like, where are these people? Like
Yeah,
everyone's just trying to like pinpoint where they are. That's why there are so many locating abilities and stuff like that. So like
yeah.
higher level play, it's just all about communication. And I've already seen in some streams like everyone has like all the map call outs, and I'm just like they're over by hookah. I'm like, what what is
yeah,
that?
garage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All I kept hearing was garage. I'm like, what the fuck is garage?
yeah.
The big empty room. They're all big empty rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From a new player's perspective, you go into a stream or just playing the game, you hear things like that, and you're like you have no idea what you're talking about there. Yeah, but so you're gonna have to have some interest in learning that stuff if you want to be good at the game, which is the same in any game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just I feel like there's a lot that it's gonna take to become a pro in Valorant, and
There's
it's
no
not gonna be
mechanisms to learn either, like you were saying
yeah,
before. And then we didn't talk about it, but also no one was talking in the chat. How are
mhm.
you going to coordinate buys? Also, like if it is a CS:GO clone, like everybody's saying, like if there's the community isn't talking to each other, how are you going to
Well, you can
coordinate all?
request.
Mm-hmm.
You can be like, someone buy
Yeah,
me this
that's a
gun, and
great
they can
fun.
just
That's
click
a
on it.
great thing that I
So
wish CS:GO had. That's a
Mhm.
great point. since I was talking
Yeah,
about
everyone
social
is
media.
like gushing over that.
I mean, but it's
Yeah.
also going to be a matter. This is like they're still just trying out the new toy. Essentially, when they actually are trying to win on a competitive ladder, the people who want to win are going to be in that chat, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
gonna
going to really
be.
be a factor. And then the people who are trying to win but not in that chat, they're going to get flamed by their teammates for being an idiot and be like, oh, we could have won if you just put your mic in or just typed in chat. So that's not
But
really something that's going to
But yeah,
affect
that's
it.
a great. You're 100% right, and like what I'm concerned about for this game is that it's not going to foster a casual community at all.
Yeah,
Like we everybody's talking about the esport level, and like even the developers are like get good scrubs. Like they don't care about the casual community either.
I think you're
So
wrong.
like what?
I think you're wrong. I think they do
Why?
care. Because you're still like, sure, the game style may not be what the four of us are really all about. We might just like prefer different like kind of flavor FPS, but just because it's just like some people are gonna like it. That's why CS:GO is just like still a thing. So one of the biggest like games in out there. It's just like they cater towards, well, it's like they've built up a grassroots movement like Smash, and the devs even said in an interview that for at least for the first year, like year and a half, they're not thinking about like franchising or anything. They're just gonna try to partner with third party TOs and stuff like that to build up these like homegrown names, so like that anyone can like potentially rise up through the ranks and be the best essentially. So like,
But I think there have been
Yeah,
a
I'm not
few
talking about.
instances of the devs to like responding to criticism by people where it's just like you're just saying that because you're bad. Like get better at this game and then come back to me. But
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
that's just
talking
like
about
the
kids
nature of
that
the
aren't
game.
dirt and are never going to be anything other than dirt. Like these, and that's honestly, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that suck. Then there's a lot more people that are going to suck at this game than are going to be good at this game.
That's
And
for
they're
any
very,
game though.
yeah,
yeah, but like there's not really going to be a safety net for these kids. I feel like I haven't got my hands on the game, and it's going to be hard to tell that with a beta where a majority of the people playing it are either streamers or like now there's just some people getting beta keys. But I'm interested to see how the casual community builds out because they're going to need that for viewership down the line. If the kids aren't interested in playing the game and learning the game and getting good at the game, are they going to care about watching the game?
that is a major component of esports is like I'm going to watch the top level so I can pick up some tips and tricks and then bring
Mhm.
that to my own personal experience playing it. So it's a good point.
yeah. If they Jake does have a point though with saying that there are going to be people who care, but the casual community that Blake's talking about is just like from a new player just or someone who just wants to pick up the game and play it. I feel like it's not going to take to just like playing every once in a while.
Yeah,
On
like if there's not a robust tutorial, right? Like I was playing this is way out of left field, Morthow. That game has a really comprehensive tutorial that
Mhm.
teaches you every mechanic of the game, like how to do everything. There are some things that you have to learn trial by error, like trial and error, but you're not going to learn things that you're going to need to be like not even competitive in these games, but really just be able to do the bare minimum, like
Yeah,
buy rounds, the economy of this game. They probably didn't talk anything about that in the
nah,
tutorial.
they just like, you can buy your
And like
weapons,
they're
you can buy
not
your abilities.
yeah, and like they teach you like how to play like as an individual, but like this is a team game. So if they're not going to teach the community how to play, it's either going to develop a very toxic and like blaming community where like you suck, versus like looking introspectively, it's like, oh, what am
Yeah,
I doing wrong, right? Which
But
I mean,
on the other hand, you can be like, do you want the devs to say like, oh, this is how you're supposed to play my game, or do you want it to be have the community figure it out on their own? And then most of the time, like with the Fortnite, like the community figured out, oh, this is how you do like, yeah, they implemented turbo building, but like this is how you could take advantage of turbo building and created it into a completely different thing than what the devs imagined it to be. So
yes, but they also developed a community around it. What I'm concerned about, does this have the bones to get a large community that's actually going to care right off the bat? And I think that they have enough hype, at least from the bubble that I live in, where they can get a lot of people in the game. But how long is that burn going to be? before they're like, I'm tired of the game? Is it
think-
going to be like Darren, where it's like 5 to 10 games, and it's like, you know what, this is kind of not my game.
And well, they also have the brand like stature of being Riot. It's like they
Ice
didn't pay
Frog's not in
people.
this one, dog.
It's like they didn't pay people like Apex did when that dropped last year to like have like, oh, you got, let's have everybody who's anybody like come stream Apex. We're gonna pay you like $1 million each. Like no one, they I don't think they paid like anybody. It was just like
I don't think
off the merit of being Riot that they know how to run a game, and then down the road an esports scene, like I want to try this and be involved in it. So I think there's
I think the style of the game that Blake is referring to that is like problematic is kind of a big reason why all these top streamers and players like it, because it really does cater to the competitive side of
Yeah.
things, where it's like, unlike Overwatch in a lot of ways, where Overwatch wants to be inclusive to everyone, but by doing that it kind of hinders the more competitive minded people, and also just the whole nature of the game. Like there is no carry potential in Overwatch for the most part, but there's so much carry potential in in Valorant and games like it. So I think that really opens up a lot of doorways for it, because you won't be able to just like, oh, my team, I'm not going to play this because I just keep getting bad teams. It's like, okay, if you had the juice, bro, you should have popped off and carried that round, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
is anyone
That-
for Steve's cam? Is anyone else experiencing Steve just like freezing, like lagging? a lot?
No.
Okay.
he's just grainy as shit like always. It's all good.
Okay. He's like on
I
mine. He's
look
like
good on
lagging
my
a lot.
end.
Is that laptop mic? That laptop mic? Is that the laptop camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yo, Apple, step up your
Combined with
game.
some shitty internet.
Huawei's got fucking 40-mile zoom on their fucking
Hey, if they're not
phones.
sponsoring us, I don't want to fucking hear about it.
I don't want to I know. But then again, like I think about it like this, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of elements to this game that they don't talk about. Like, all right, let's talk about the framing of this game, right? A lot of people going into it are going to think that it's going to be like a game like Overwatch, and they're going to get inflated numbers, thinking that the casual community is going to think it's a hero shooter, and they're going to be sadly mistaken. And I think it's going to burn a lot of bridges.
But I
Like,
think they'd also
free
do
to
that on
play game,
purpose.
yeah, but like I hope that they can figure out the matchmaking so that it's fun for these kids, so they can like grab on to enough of a community when the hype is over.
But Darren just said that he felt like the games were pretty balanced in the ones he
Yeah,
played on the like.
the
Yeah,
ones
but that's a small test group.
and it was like the second day the beta was out that I was playing on it. So the main reason why I stopped playing it was because I didn't want to get into those games, because I know if I got into those games where they were super sweaty, I would just like be like, I'm done with this. Like it's just not
He
fun
only takes
at
one.
that point. It only- which is,
What do you guys
but
think of
that's
the,
not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, what do you guys think of the pace of it in general? Like the low time to kill, but the slow like movement and engagement, like the kind of the peakiness of it. Like, do you think that makes for a tough viewing experience and a boring play experience, or do you think the audience is already used to it? The people that like it from CS:GO, or like, they like the more methodical, strategic approach, or will people get tired of it?
I don't think the younger generation is going to like it. Period. I like it. Like I honestly, surprisingly, I actually like CS:GO and that more methodical play style, because it's like it's tense when you're in the moment, and like you're going to see a lot of pros talk about that. Like it's fun to play and it feels really good. But from a viewer experience, how long do you want to watch somebody stare at a wall until they hit W or D?
Yeah, and that's what I got from my play experience when I was playing the game, and you're down to like that last person left, and you're put in the clutch situation. It's super fun and super intense. I was in like a 1v3, and I used my ult as Phoenix, went out, killed one, and then recalled. And I saw where the other two were, and I knew where they were, so I just killed them when they came around the corner. And that was like super fun. But from a spectator, when I watch other people stream the game, I can't get hooked on it. Like I can't like, I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. There are those clips that you did show us, Steve, where someone does something crazy, but I can't. At this point, I'm gonna like just
Sure, it's
chalk those
few
up
and
to
far
people being
between.
yeah, just to be people being bad early game. But if people can pull off stuff like that in pro competitive play, it'll be that's what'll.
Yeah,
That's like
well,
the high
they had
risk.
a lot of them come Yeah, they had a lot of them come in early to so a lot of these players that these clips are coming from have been playing this for longer than videos have been
Yeah,
exposed, like they had people come in early and test it. And so they are going to be on a higher level, and maybe they are just shitting on people who just picked it up, just got their beta key yesterday, and and don't really know it all. But it does indicate that in such a short period of time, people are able to pull off some of these things. That maybe
yeah.
there is potential for some high octane stuff.
And just like to mention the competitive side of it again, they want to cater to this competitive community, but I think they really need to take a look at what happened with Fortnite, and the competitive community is what drove away all the casual and has lowered the viewership of the game because the barrier to play is just so high for that game. And when you have that, it's just your numbers are only gonna they're never gonna go up. Like this week, it could be like what they said in community. It's only down from here
To
for
go
Yeah,
Valorant.
but
They
going
like
back
nobody's
to
have
watching the floor. No one's watching the skill floor. That's what I'm
yeah,
really concerned about
yeah,
this game, and like it's going to be interesting to watch when it actually comes out how much they can retain, or how many people actually pass that
yeah.
bar
Because
and
like a
find.
million viewers right now on Twitch, it's a lot. And I can't imagine it getting any higher. I think this is like we're looking at peak Valorant right now, and you're gonna have to have that spectator experience if you want to keep doing numbers like
Retain.
that.
Well, it's all about the drops, like
Mhm.
everyone's
Yeah.
watching because
Mhm.
But
it's exciting new game. That's a big bump as well. And then
Well,
they want to get to try it. So
yeah, but
yeah,
if you like add a million and then you're dropping down to like 30, 40K, it's like, bro, what happened?
they're not gonna drop down that low.
Yeah, but it is a possibility
Sure.
eventually when the casual community realizes that this game is it's not you can't just pick up and play it. You have to
Do you guys think they're
getting
kind of
bumps.
getting ahead of themselves, like with this, like with their whole esports push?
They're not really
Like
pushing
did you guys see
the esports
T1?
thing yet, though.
There are already teams signing
That's
contracts.
Yeah, but that's on the orgs. No, that's not Riot's doing. That's the orgs.
Yeah,
but
If
but
they
I
Riot,
did
wanted
see
to,
that
do you
Riot
really
was
think?
speaking with orgs.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was
If
just
they
gonna say
wanted to,
that they have
they
reached
could
out.
have like full league, like with like B teams as well if they wanted to already. But
Okay, but they know
Yeah,
that would be jumping the gun because their game hasn't released yet. There isn't
yeah,
they don't
but
know if
like
it's at
saying
the
that
point where
like this
it's
one just because one org has a team doesn't mean that's Riot's doing. That's
no, but
completely
there's
yeah.
been
They've
leaks
talked
that
to yeah,
Riot is talking to a bunch of orgs to try to plot out how they want to handle their
yeah.
esports
Their
thing. And it's
esports
clearly
scene.
this game was designed esports
yeah.
minded. You don't make a game this competitively driven, especially from
It's
Riot fucking games, that if you don't want it to be an esport. So it is going to be one, but I don't think that they're getting too far ahead. I think everyone else is kind of a little too
yeah,
Yeah,
hot on the
that's where
draw.
I'm
but
coming from. Yeah,
yeah,
like
that's what
it's
I'm
everyone
concerned.
else. Yeah,
I'm really concerned about like what this is
But I think
going
it's
to
because they
do
know it's coming,
yeah.
to the
and it
industry as
is.
a whole, though. Like I'm afraid of this game, right?
Hmm.
I'm afraid of Overwatch right now, right? Like there are some big esports that are like hurting right now. Like Overwatch viewership is down. Fortnite's viewership is going down, and people are like, oh my god, Fortnite's dying, and Valorant's gonna kill all these games or whatever. I highly doubt that, right? At least
mhm.
for in Fortnite's case. But like, if this doesn't show good numbers, do you think investment in like esports and like these orgs are gonna the money's gonna start drying up eventually just because they're not performing? Like I
I
feel like this is going to be a huge push for an esport, and if it goes south, are people going to be like, "Oh, they really don't know what the fuck they're doing"?
Yeah, I think Riot is. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, and they because I
Yes.
saw that they were reaching out to orgs, and I think they have that in mind. And reaching out to orgs or working closely with orgs is one of the best ways to copulate an esport. I don't like the Overwatch League method of like forming a league and then like the league is owned by Blizzard and they choose who's on the team. I
Yeah.
like the aspect of like you being able to make something from yourself in a game and get on an org and then make a name for yourself that way as opposed there's three
But
ways I
but
see
League has
sports.
a similar thing as Overwatch does right now.
Yeah,
But that's also
but
like down the line. Like it might Valorant scene might get to that like maybe 5 years from now. But yeah, if they're smart, they'll definitely do the more kind of more inclusive. Like
I think that is like what Blake was talking about. That is what causes negative numbers in investor eyes. Those kinds of leagues, like the Overwatch League, it's just you have to pay for this spectator and maintain like all this travel for these players. They're not doing it right now because of coronavirus, but it's just a lot. And then you have teams going for $20 million a team. Like these numbers are outright. How are
I think
you
that's
going
not
to
so
get
much
that?
on the esports scene itself. It's more on Blizzard just or Activision really just shooting themselves in the
Yeah, I don't
foot.
think it's a problem with I don't think it's a problem with the system in general because it makes sense, like similar to professional sports leagues where it's like, all right, this is where you go to watch this top
Mhm.
level play. That's how they frame it, and it's going to be on this channel every week at this time, and just like a consistency thing, so you don't have to kind of keep track of, oh, when's the next league tournament popping up or when's the next Dota tournament popping
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
And to what Blake was saying before about these, I think you have to also credit about these games going downhill is they're older games, and this is like the first new exciting thing that has come out in a while in like the shooter thing since Fortnite and like 3 years ago or so.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just worried. Like I look at like the state of the industry as a whole. Like look at like speaking of Riot, right? Look at Hooney, right? $2.3 million contract, and now the org's like, yeah, you can go to another org if you want, bro. Like we're sick of you already. Like don't get me wrong, not all that money is guaranteed, but a lot of it is. Even in Riot's sphere of influence, there is some mismanagement, and you can blame that on the org as much as you want. But when money starts to get wasted like that, I'm concerned that it's going to hinder the next game after this,
Mhm.
right? Like, because like you're saying, there's a pretty wide open field now in esports where it's like, okay, there are some big gatekeepers, and like I'm hoping that this game, like I'm really rooting for this game as much as I talk shit. I really am rooting for this game to kind of break through so that there can be other developers that maybe make some esport focused games, so we can
Yeah.
get some variance in it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. If you look at like Siege right now, it was announced. I think EG and I think maybe Luminosity or
Mhm.
one other team, um, and the NA league is going to get dropped next year from the viruses. That's like how little margin a lot of these orgs have to like stay
exactly.
alive. And then in the Apex competitive scene, a lot of if you go on like the competitive Reddit threads, half of them are orgs saying, "Oh, we're dropping XYZ player and we're getting out of the Apex competitive scene."
Well, that's because of what is happening in Fortnite right now. There's no dedicated competitive schedule, and these orgs have these players, and they're like, "Well, I don't even know if there's going to be a Fortnite World Cup this year." So, and I have all these Fortnite players, and I assume it's the same thing for Apex. Apex doesn't really have a tournament path that they follow or tournament schedule,
They have the
and
global series right now, but like outside of that, it's kind of yeah,
yeah,
you're
this
right. It's like it's very
it's
sporadic. It seems like.
which is why I think if Valorant does work closely with these orgs, they can pull something off because they have all these players that they're sitting on that they just want to put them in something that they know they'll be able to compete in.
Do you think that there's going to be a lot of like banned CS:GO players that are going to be pro Valorant players, like off the cut?
I
Like,
think you're gonna see the majority of the transfer of the implants from CS:GO through like the beta through like probably the first at most a year into the full release of Valorant, and then by then I think by at that point you're gonna see the people who are coming who started in Valorant and like rose through the
you're
general
going to see
competitive
the
ladder.
14-year-old aim god
Yeah, you're
start
gonna
coming.
see the 14-year-old prodigies come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I saw, I forget what org it was, but they like shifted their Paladins team into a Valorant team like before the beta even
Oh,
dropped.
like,
Yes, because
I was like,
Paladins transfers over so
Yeah.
well.
it was more like they were just like, we already have these people. At least
So
we're in
that
it.
yeah, we're paying them. We're already paying them. But like, just talking about like large organizations over a game, right? Like
Hmm.
CS:GO has like some really promising players like over the course of that game have been like their careers have been like dashed by like VAC bans or like Valve just outright banning their accounts for like random dumb shit, right? Like like you see like Swag or AZK two are like the first two kids that have contracts in Valorant. They're both kids that are banned from CS:GO. So like, do you think like that's why I brought that up? I'm like, are they gonna grab the basically the free agents of like a game that translates over very easily to get a competent team and try to grab a lot of that spotlight? Do you think you're gonna see a lot of that?
Yeah, I wonder what orgs are gonna do if they're gonna go for new talent or try and cultivate their already existing talent into becoming a Valorant player. Because what do you do with those
I'm
kids?
interested.
You just drop them?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how like the meta grows because I think right now, like what Jake was saying before, and Blake grabbing the top CS:GO people because this is very CS:GO game. But like maybe over time, if the meta develops to be like you can pull off more things with like abilities and
Hmm.
coordination, and it is less like reliant on just sheer aim, and that like kind of determines like I think it'll take like one team being so dominant and beating all those other people that really like show a different way. But at first, it's gonna be like CS:GO centric.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is a good point that people are just grasping onto what they're familiar and like afraid to branch. Yeah, maybe people will like back away from the corners.
I
Come
doubt that highly.
on.
I doubt it highly.
Uh,
This
People love
game is
those
like
corners.
designed around peaking, and just like again, like the movement abilities really have me interested and have like a lot of potential to really shake up the
It's
status quo. I can't wait to like see kids
yeah.
have enough experience in it to maybe test it out, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of just playing it like CS:GO just because they don't have any idea how to play it any other way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah. What do we
It is
feel
like
about?
oh yeah,
You go ahead.
just elaborating on what Blake said. It is like a double-edged sword. The gameplay, just when you kill someone, you feel so rewarded, but when you die, the fuck, it's very
It's also boring to watch somebody
yeah.
else
It's and then
play.
you
Yeah,
have to yeah.
that's just what I was gonna
It's
say. What
the
do you guys
same.
think the viewership is gonna kind of end up like the viewership experience of Valorant, like both streaming and esports?
It's going to be a lot of older. It's going to be an older community. Definitely. I don't
I
think
don't
these.
I don't think it's a
I'm
stream game.
sorry.
I
I'm
don't
sorry
think
to say, but these kids with their dopamine fried brains, they're not going to be able to like sit through a whole match of this. I don't think.
yeah. The matches are also long. 12 first to 12.
Aren't they
Yeah.
shorter than CS:GO ones
It's
though?
Yeah.
yeah. They're shorter, but I don't the
Only by like a
rounds.
couple games.
Yeah, dude, I played a close game and it was like 24 rounds,
Yeah.
and I
40
was
minutes,
yeah, for that
45
40
minute
minutes a
games.
game, and
Hmm. Yeah, like league games like can last an hour, but like there's almost constant action. You
yeah,
can zoom around to
yeah,
different parts of the map and something going on.
Hmm.
yeah,
For me, I tried to watch CS:GO a couple of times. It's just not for me. It's just too slow paced. I kind of like constant like being in the cut, like in the thick of it, kind of gameplay, and this it just like doesn't call for me. I think Valorant is definitely going to be more. I think more variables than CS:GO with just the addition of abilities, even if like most like half the abilities are just like mollies, flashes, and frags. But with the other stuff, it can bring in more possibilities of how the fights kind of carry out. Um,
mhm,
I want to contest that. I'm going to say I think the viewing experience is going to be dog shit because of that.
mhm.
All these fucking particle effects and like all the gameplay is based around visual negation.
Mhm.
How the fuck are you going to watch
I
that?
mean, I mean,
You can't see
the gameplay
anything.
itself is it's very straightforward. Like you're trying to kill the enemy team, and it's very simple. It's like I'm trying to plant a bomb, or I'm trying to defuse a bomb and kill everyone else. If you take some other game, like Rocket League's very simple. It's like it's soccer but with cars.
yeah. Blake's just
Well,
talking about it'll be like crazy for a
yeah,
viewer
I
to
understand
watch.
that. That's like another problem I have with it. It's like half of the things is just like, yeah, just like negating. Just like, nope, you can't go
Nope,
this
I'm
way because
fucking standing in gray. Now I'm standing in black. Now I'm
Mhm.
standing in
Yeah,
green. Can only see
I think it's
3 feet in front of me.
I think it largely is going to come down to the spectator system they have, which I'm
Yeah,
sure, judging how this is like intended to be an esport from the get-go, I'm sure they had something in mind where
Bird's
maybe
eye
you
view.
can see all players at all times or something like
Yeah, the
through
bird's
the
eye.
smoke. Yeah, and just like even a step further with like the seeing through walls and stuff, and like seeing through like a
like
like using
outlines.
that technology they have. Yeah, the outlines in the smoke, so you have a grasp of where they are. Or maybe you do, like, it probably will be mainly from player perspective, so they probably won't want that, and so you can
Mhm.
get like the experience of like this guy just jumped out of the fucking smoke. Oh my
Yeah.
god! And But overall, my thoughts on like a more positive end of the viewership experience is the games can be pretty intense, like especially with the low time to kill, and like say your whole team gets popped, it's like, oh man, it's up to this one guy to kill this whole team and defuse it. It's like it has that set like race against the clock feeling with that.
Yeah.
I think it's
You know, I like that idea of that, and I like the high intensity, but like also to be honest, it doesn't happen that often that they're gonna pull that off. Most of
No.
the time, they're gonna get fucking sat right back down.
The same thing in like
I do have
Siege.
to think about the percentage of the game that is going to be just like super safe gameplay, especially at
Yeah.
top level. It's
All of
like,
it.
what if that is
Yeah,
like,
whatever
that's
Yeah.
a
Especially
best
as they're
ratio.
transplanting all of the CS:GO players, it's really going to grab the community, and it's going to take a while for them. Like, if it's even built into the game, which I don't know it is. Like, are they going to be able to break away from that very safe gameplay? Like, which is what we've been talking about this whole time, and like we just don't know yet.
Yeah.
Something I think would be super cool if like they just added like another level. Like it's all like basically one plane now you can get on like a box or two, but you're all basically on like the same kind of like story. If like they added like a map with like a different level where you can run up above people and like shoot, and they have like openings where you can shoot down on people, I think that would make it a lot more
camp out
entertaining.
the staircase.
The game doesn't work in large open areas is the problem. You need the corners because the whole gameplay loop is designed around corner peeking. Like that's the name of the game, and I like we hope that it's not gonna. There's gonna be other like viable plays other than that, but. To be honest, they borrowed so much from CS:GO. I don't really think that you're going to be able to, because also not if everybody had a movement ability, then the game would be completely different. But they don't. So there's only like two characters that are going to be able to change the gameplay up at all.
Yeah. That is a good point. And just back to
Alright.
the viewership thing, it's if you plan on streaming this game, it better be damn good because no one wants to watch you watch your boy play. So
I was watching early
just
gameplay of like
just from
Shroud, and I'm
like
like, he is getting destroyed,
yeah,
and he's
just
like
from like
flashbanging his boys the whole time. Like,
I think that's a completely underestimated thing. Just the casual streaming experience, and I'm pretty much sure that's going to be like non-existent unless you're super good at the game. You're not going to be able to stream it, and I'm interested to see how that affects viewership of the game as a whole.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I think,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have to fully embrace the competitive end and kind of be like more tactically talking the whole time, like not like reading the chat and seeing what memes are up, but more
Yeah.
like I'm doing this because this and this, and more.
But that also
Yeah,
flows
education.
back into the matchmaking quality.
Your Overwatch.
Yeah. But like you have to be your Overwatch while you're streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, some streamers are good at that. Like Sequel's really good at that. From what I was watching, he kind of explained a lot of what he does, and I'm sure that's what made him super popular at the beginning of Overwatch as well, where kind of like creating a bridge for these lesser
Yeah.
like kids that are even afraid to even try it to be like, okay, well, I feel a little more confident if I know to do this and this. So
Yeah, that's what got me into streaming in the first place. Just like that relationship where it's like, oh, this kid's really good at the game, and he's gonna like tell me his thought process. So if they do have a bunch of people like that, I can see the viewership experience being very good, and it'll fix those holes we talked about with like casuals not being able to come up to speed a couple weeks down the line. So things like that'll help with that. But if it's just like TTV Jimmy trying to get his stream numbers up, and he's watching his boy all
It'll
game.
work the first 2 days.
Yeah, yo.
Days while it's hot, but other than that, like Jimmy's career is down the toilet.
His boy's career might be popping off, but not Jimmy's.
Jimmy's.
yeah,
No,
I
but,
think
like, Jimmy, if he's playing with the best kids, even if he's getting dumpstered, it's basically like what is it when
It's
you watch your boy on stream?
Spectator party.
No, like on Twitch when you have your boy stream up there.
Oh, squad
Oh,
stream?
squad stream. No, or you're talking about like
hosting.
hosting viewership
he's
party.
hosting.
Yeah, hosting. Yeah, he's hosting their fucking stream.
Hosting by duress.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting to, like Darren said, watch if the streaming numbers drop significantly over time, because it's a hot new thing right now, so they're going to be pretty high along with drops. But over time, like maybe it won't. But at the same time, the highest streamed game is League of Legends, which is super complicated and people like it. I guess not super challenging to get into, like the
Dude, we
like
all played it. We all tried to play it, and we had a lot of fun in the first 2 weeks.
And then
and then the
skill-based
sweat started
matchmaking.
coming up, and
then
it was like,
skill-based
all right, well, I
matchmaking.
guess I don't play this game anymore.
yeah,
that
but
was a
it's
good-
like floor isn't so low that like you couldn't even possibly play it like maybe something like CS would be, where you just don't have the skill to even be a contender. But there's so much to know and tactics and stuff that maybe you watch more than you play, just so you have a stand a chance when you do play.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential to get real deep real quick, and they just need to be prepared to
I
arm
think they're
their
gonna have to lean
users
on
with that.
that for a chance, and I think that's what their plan is, because this was not intended to be a everyone welcome game, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they said
Yeah.
it themselves. So
Yeah, I just hope that they can pull it off. Like there's like what we talked about in this talk now. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and I'm really hoping that they can pull it off, because it's going to really open the door for a lot of other studios to pull out esports.
cool.
So what do we feel? Will Valorant be trash?
Oh, dude, I think
Part two.
all day.
I don't think it's trash. It has potential. They just need to realize what they're getting into themselves into, and I think they are managing it very well. And just make it so that it's not like your little brother can play it. Just like make it so it's not. I don't want to get dumpstered when I just decide to randomly play Valorant with my boys. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if anybody
That
can do it,
that
try
might be
it.
it.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
it might be a impossible task, is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
They may have found their
But that doesn't
their
necessarily
weakness
make
in
it. Yeah.
FPS.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily make it a bad game. It still can be a good game. Just
I
like
just
Jake said, I don't think it's going to be a game for me, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, we just started playing League, and it's how
check
many years
back
did you say
part
that was
3.
like?
Yeah, Valorant Part 3 video.
Is it Crash Part 3 in
We'll
probably
be back. We'll definitely,
Well,
whenever it
yeah,
drops.
we'll
when the four of
definitely
us can
continue
like
this
squad up in
discussion.
a game, we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be fun
Yeah,
because I was just playing by myself. That is a good
there's a lot to
point.
watch.
When it comes out, we will stream it on Twitch.
Stream it.
Watch your boys get dumpstered.
Yeah.
TBA.
Cool.
Yeah, come tell us to get good in the chat.
Mhm.
But I think that's all for Valorant on this point. Definitely, we'll continue to watch it and come back with more thoughts and videos on it. In the meantime, join our FNCS Fantasy Fortnite tournaments at infamy.gg, win some V-Bucks, and come talk shit on our Discord. And we will see you next time.